Cook and welcome to Angling Info. Hi and welcome to Angling Info. You join me on a wintry day today, about 5 degrees or so in January. We've been really lucky though, to be honest, with the weather so far, so I'm just here for a short session at Rustic Arms, and I'm just going to go through my approach to fishing up to islands in winter, and why sometimes it's not always good to fish too close. So what I've done is I've got my rig set up, and I'll go through that first, and then we'll talk about you know, distance away from the island and things. So simple light setup today. I've got a little carp short float with fiberglass stem on it, short tip, very visible, thick bristle, but it's shotted down, so it's easy for bite detection. I've got a small bulk of 4 number 10s, and an inch away from that I've got another number 10, and then about midway through the rig I've got a dropper, number 10 dropper, but I've left for probably about 1.5 foot of free line, purely for a slow fall of the bait and a natural look, as it's they can be quite spooked in here. We're looking for anything really today, silvers or little carp or anything like that. I've got that coupled to a very light 8 Jura, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ship out, and I'm going to show you kind of distance away basically that I'm going to fish. Right, I've got a selection of baits with me today. I've just cupped in, and I've cupped in a few micro pellets soaked, a couple of hard pellets, a little bit of dark bream ground bait, just with a little brown crumb to give a little bit of attraction, and I've just cupped that on my peg. So what I'm going to do is put a bait on, and we'll go out there and just see if there's anything lying on it, and I'll talk to you about the kind of distance away. When you plumbing your rigs, the best thing to do is start close to the island, see how deep that is, and work back, because the fish aren't always going to be, if it's very mild, and you might see that you see them topping and stuff like that, they might want to be in the shallower water, but usually at this time of year they're not going to want to be in that cold water. So what you need to do is try and find a level depth away from the island. So even though you might not be right up at the island, it's still classed as an island peg, because you're near the feature. So I'm fishing probably about 1.5 foot away from the island, and it just slopes down into like a little gully, and that's where I'm going to start. If I feel that I'm getting liners and I'm too deep, then I'll shallow up and I'll come closer up that slope. So I'm just going to start with 2 maggots to start off with, a white and a red, just because usually if you get your silvers before your little carp. For first drop, I'm not going to put a cad pot on, but I will put a cad pot on probably within a couple of 3 drops. All depends on how quick the bites are as to how much we feed. We still obviously need to keep the interest there, but we don't need to be overfeeding them. So I'm fishing today probably roughly 12 metres or so out there, and I've measured the depth with my elbow on the join of my pole, which is a good indication, and I've actually caught a fish there on the drop. So it's possible that I didn't even lay my rig in, and a fish has taken that. So although that's a fish straight away, it's only a small one, so there's a possibility that they are higher up in the water, like I may have suggested. But what we'll do to start off with is just try and have a feel of that peg lower down, and then we'll see if there's anything on the bottom first, because that one could have just been a bonus fish. So it's not a bad little start there. Let's get him back and get some new bait on, as that one's been mullered. So winter fishing is all about being patient. It's not rapid like summer is, and you don't always catch like summer. So you know, you can have some very good sessions, and it has been quite mild this year, so you know, we might be all right today. But we have had quite a lot of rain, which has put a lot of cold water in there. Fishing with a small hook today, size 20, PR 27, Preston up, really sharp, gets a good hook hold, and even if you catch, you know, little carp on it, you know, it should more than be capable. So we've got that marker out there. Use my elbow as the downward marker, and then I've got a marker on the far bank. Just settled that on that bait on that slope, and we just want to see if anything's settled on that bait that we put down there. Important, even though it's winter, to keep, for the interest of the fish, is always keep lifting and dropping. Don't leave it you know, just in there all the time. Keep the interest. This pond, to be honest, is only a couple of foot deep anyway, so it's not as if we're fishing really shallow. This is the deepest part of the pond. It's exactly the same plumb all the way up from where I'm stood all the way up to where I'm fishing. And like I say, you won't catch straight away all the time. Like I was saying to you, that were a bonus fish we caught there, and just followed the bait down and took that. Seen a couple of indications. Just about keep having patience and laying the rig back in. I've got a few hook baits with me today. Corn, an expander. There we go, another little fish. An expander, and I've also got maggots as well. So we're just, depending on how the fishing's going, we will see and dictate as to what we catch. Obviously, we started off on maggots. Most of the time, you're gonna catch these smaller stamper fish, which, you know, this time of year is what most people look to catch. But what we're going to do is I'm just going to stick an expander pellet on, and I'm going to stick my shaker pot on there, and I'll just have a go with an expander and see if there's sometimes a bigger stamper roach there, the carp, or you know, some good sized skimmers. So I've just pumped some ringers expanders, 4.5 mil ones. So they're the perfect size for this year. Unless you're fishing a venue, you know, you're gonna catch on 6 mil. 4 mil is probably best to start on. When I fish Tom's Pond, they'll take 6 mil. Well, the trout, but they're quite aggressive feeders in this time of year. Whereas, you know, these little fish can't really get a 6 mil in the mouth. So, I mean, if you are, you know, if you're fishing and you're getting plagued by smaller fish, even on pellet, and you have got some 6 mils, and you know there's quite a possibility that there's quite a lot of carp in here, then yeah, go for it. You know, put a 6 mil on as a standout. So I've just put in some micro pellets. So I'm just gonna lift that out and just gently lower the rig in. See if anything will take the pellet. Like I say, it's all about building your peg. You know, when you fish an island peg, you know, we start off in this deeper water. If you're not getting many bites, you know, there's a good chance that you're gonna catch. So you've just got one on the pellet straight away. You know, there's a good chance that they're in, well, you know, shallower water. Like I said, there, look, it's not big at all, but there's so put a pellet on. You know, we've got a little carp straight away on first drop. So, you know, where there's one, there's normally 2 or 3. So, as you can see, it's very jumpy, but it's a nice little stocky carp there. So just get him back and see if we can catch something else on the pellet. Right, so I've just hooked into a better fish that's come off. It were foul hooked. So what I'm going to do now is go out to the island, move farther back out and plumb up close to the island, because I feel they're in shallow water. Like I thought there were a possibility of it, but I always start on a deeper line. So all I'm going to do is just ship out past that point of where I was before. So I was just on bottom there. So if I go a little bit further, I'm just going to have to edge it out there. Then it's probably about another 6 inches deeper, shallower, sorry. But I think that's where they're going to be. So just going to ship my pole back and get that depth right, and then I'm just going to cup in. So slide the shot down your line, keep the same pattern, but just sliding it down the line. I've just got a bit of a left to right wind starting up now, so I've just put a little back shot, probably about 4 to 6 inches away from the hook, and that away from the float, and that's purely to sink that line behind the float. So need to come down about another couple of inches, and we should be about right there. Just over that spot where we fed. Got the pole tip out of the way. A little touch on the float there. We're into a fish. Only feels a small fish. But that were on the pellets. So, you know, yeah, it's like a little silver. A little skimmer, which I thought would be a possibility. As soon as you put those pellets in, it's a nice skimmer. Nice little skimmer, so just put him back, and then what we're going to do with this one is just feed a bit of the crumb only with the pellet. So like I say, you're not looking to catch massive heavy weights of fish this time of year. You're just looking to have a good session, you know, and that's what it's about fishing. You don't have to go there and catch massive fish every single time you go fishing, and you know, it's just as enjoyable for me to come here and catch small, you know, 1 to 3 ounce kind of fish, you know, because at least you're catching. Well, you know, there's always a chances of that bonus fish, and you know, it's always a possibility, and that's the fun of fishing. So this time all I've done is put a bit of crumb out in the cad pot. So just turn it over and just tip that contents out, and most of the time you'll see where it goes. You see it actually in the water go down in a nice cloud. It's not heavy, it's only lightly mixed, so it creates a cloud, and it's not too much feed going in. So I don't really want it to go sit down, you know, and I want it to be an attraction. It's not really there to keep the fish. The pellets take the fish down to the bottom there. The cloud is just purely for attraction basis, and gets those fish milling around your peg, and they're finding the little loose offerings of micro pellet and things like that, and you know, among those is your bait. So I'm going to have another try on pellet, and then I'm going to have a little try and maggots again and just alternate. Put it back ahead. The bites are coming quite regular now. Mostly skimmers. So that he doesn't puts the light on and looks something bigger. Pretty cool, that, isn't it? It's a nice little ornamental carp. Obviously, as you can see, it's worked really well today, and it's bitterly cold. And we started off on that slightly deeper line, and we've moved on to the shallower line, and you know that's where the fish were. But you've just got to be prepared to move your rig about. Seem to be catching them all on pellet now. Hope this video's helped you out, and thanks for subscribing and all your support. Tatlines.